the real trend, and I try to live for, especially in big companies and when we have a good content team, is focus on the user. It's always focus on the user's needs, and then sell the benefits, not selling actually the product, but what you're gonna get, what's the user gonna get.
Welcome to SEO Unveiled. I'm Clay Kramer, and I'm here today. I've got a really awesome guest. We got Josep Maria Felip. He is living in the UK in near Brighton, and right now he's got a really amazing wealth of experience. He's a self-taught SEO. He started in the digital marketing space in 2006, so he's got a ton of great experience. When he founded the first online wallpaper shop in Spain with his wife. That must have been a fun time to do that together. And then he arrived in the UK in 2014 and worked in the travel industry and an SEO agency. And he's currently at LTG PLC. It's a really big company with a bunch of different brands in the education space. And this is where he doubled organic traffic in less than 1 year for one of the brands. Also, he increased leads from organic by more than 150% year over year after migration to a new site. And I know how difficult migrations are because so many of our clients come to us about challenging migrations. And in SEO, he believes the user is king, relevancy is the key, and data is your guide. So I'm really excited to have Josep Maria on with us today. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here in your show, in your podcast, and yes, chat about what I like, SEO, and hopefully have a good time.
Yeah. We're super excited today. So, the first thing I always like to ask people is, SEO is such a unique industry and a unique field. And, you started out in digital marketing in the early 2000s. So it's kind of like, how did you ever get into SEO in the first place? It's always such a good story to understand.
Yeah. So, I founded my first online wallpaper shop in Spain back in 2006 with my wife. We didn't know anything about the websites. We didn't know anything about design, less about SEO. And so we got a designer, a very good designer. The designer knew some people that made the back thing, the background, the e-commerce thing, and we were in the middle, directing the orchestra. We need this. Okay, you can do that. Blah blah blah. Long story short, the website was a good success. Had a very good success, and then the crisis came. We invested our money not very wisely in some digital marketing agencies that were not very good at the moment. And then I started with SEO in 2008 because it was quite mystery to me because we appeared in the first place always, and we didn't spend a dime in PPC, never. And so I started to dig in the SEO things. I had my first Google penalty to do some not very good things, but I was just experimenting,
Sure.
And then we, in SEO, you kind of learn quite quickly. And then in 2010, we started to do some blogs to support the shop, and we started to do some other blogs, starting to do blogs for other people. Then I started as well to do some SEO services, local, then a bit more, and then until 2014, that the crisis was, quite hard, and then we decided to go to the UK, where it seemed where greener pastures there and a lot of room to grow in the digital marketing, especially in the SEO field. That's more or less how I started.
Yeah, I mean, that's a crazy story. You kind of got lucky with SEO in the beginning, and you just figured out you needed to work that, and that's cool. That's really cool, and I'm glad you made a move to the UK because it sounds like you had a lot of great experience there after that, working at some unique and interesting bigger brands too. So one of the things that I always wonder about is since you've gotten you started out by developing kind of your own site and really focused on a product and things like that, like what trends in general from your past really kind of helped you in SEO, and get you really excited about your work in SEO?
Yeah, if you're talking about trends, in the past, trends were a bit more technical. In 2006, 2008, this was like Wild West. You
Yeah.
were stuffing, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and you're set. So it became a bit more difficult, as everyone knows, with the arrival of Panda algorithm was quite a big hit, then Hummingbird, or the other way around anyway. So then things started to be a bit more complicated. But the real trend, and I try to live for, especially in big companies and when we have a good content team, is focus on the user.
Yeah.
It's always focus on the user's needs, and then sell the benefits, not selling actually the product, but what you're gonna get, what's the user gonna get from your product. It's much interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Instead of telling them the features, do you tell them the benefits that they're actually going to achieve from the product?
Yeah, that's why we had some good results in one of the case we probably gonna comment later. But yeah, definitely, it's more user focus. What the user needs, do some research, and then try to create the content for them, not for search engines.
So you mentioned research, and I kind of want to dig in more about that. So you talk about really focusing on the user, and I think that's super important. And a lot of SEOs talk about that, but I think that you guys do it a little bit differently. You talk about the kind of effort and experience of user research that you guys do that has helped you really understand users.
Yeah, so we have gone through several migrations on the websites we have. And then the very first point is research. And it's useful, both for UX and for SEO, because we can understand what the user needs and what are they looking for, what they want from our website or our products. And then we try to fit this with the keyword research as well. You have to have some keyword research, and then you try to put this thing together and create a good copy, selling the benefits more than the product. And I think that's key. That's key. So it's a very important thing um, to do your user research. You really need to understand your user. Otherwise, how are you going to figure out your content, right?
Yeah. So I mean, when you're doing user research, do you end up asking them like kind of SEO related questions, or how do you kind of really get to understand like if you're going to write content or you're going to develop pages that are specific to them? How are you going to make sure, like, how do you kind of blend that together?
So usually it's not me that makes the questions for the research, but usually it's the UX department, but they have this SEO mindset as well. They
Yeah.
know how important it is. So it's a long questionnaire, but basically it's what do they like about the website or the brand, what they feel we don't meet, or
Sure. What's missing?
what's missing exactly, what can we do better,
Yeah.
and all these kind of things. And from there, you can extract a lot of, you get insights
Yeah.
that can be applied specifically when doing the websites and the navigation as well. Or, yeah, it's kind of useful. Yeah, very useful.
Yeah. Navigation is key because everybody wants in on navigation. It's like every person in the company wants in on the navigation.
Wow. So, and it's a very it's a space that with a lot of competition, because, as you said, um, this department wants to be in, these other ones I like to have a link as well. So one of the redesigns, the latest redesigns we've done, we have gone from like a mega menu with, I don't know, 30 something or 40 links in the menu to only 6. So this has several benefits, because you concentrate the link equity in those power pages if you want.
Yeah.
Then it trickles down to the other ones. So you can rank better.
I mean, I really I like that, because that's really very user focused, because a user isn't going to be able to like even understand 30 or 40 choices of like
exactly
what's going on. I mean, like, it's so many choices. It's like, I mean, you see some e-commerce pages where, sure, you got like women's tops, bottoms, like like, or like Amazon, maybe you got like so many categories of things because they're different things. But so I can understand a few of those use cases maybe making sense. But there's very rare, I feel like, that you need more than something like 6 or 8 or something like that, some kind of manageable number that you can kind of understand, well, is this an area that I'm going to navigate to next or not? But, from my background of like working in teams where, we wanted to get in the nav, how were you able to get like 25 different people to say, yes, remove me from the nav? I feel like that must have been like, you must be a really, really good negotiator. How did you
not
do that?
me. I'm sorry, I'm not. So the credit goes to the UX department, but they instill probably some of the SEO needs, and make them understand how important it is. So, but basically, it's for the user. I mean, when you have so many choices, it's really, really difficult to, okay, where do I go? And this item is repeated in this other section of the menu. So it's easier if you go, I think, like in big areas, big pages, and then in those pages, you're going to find out whenever you are looking for. Yeah.
So, I mean, it sounds to me like your your UX team has been really key in actually advancing some SEO missions, because, there's a lot more focus on the user right now than there was 10 years ago when it comes to SEO. 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, just write some good content and we'll figure out what to do with the user after that kind of thing. We're just driving traffic. But now I feel like it's very different. And what you're talking about seems really interesting to me, because I feel like SEO is like at the center of everything, and you're partnering with the UX team to get some of your SEO initiatives advanced. And that seems like really helpful, because I felt like years ago the SEO team was kind of an island. And can you explain how you've been able to kind of communicate the mission of SEO beyond the SEO team to get other departments to understand and help get your strategy implemented?
So as I told you, I can't take so much credit as my colleague in the UX department. So I've been very, very lucky to be in this team. They are very aware of how important it is, UX and SEO working together. And everything we do, we have a lot of communication, and they have SEO in mind as well, always. And so kind of they sell me better than me. In that case, they sell SEO better than me. And yeah, they are very good at doing their work as well. So yeah, it's kind of, I feel fortunate.
That I mean,
But
that's good. That's good.
yeah, and yeah, I usually, I always try to make everyone understand how important SEO is, and try to come up with always with a rationale or why to implement some things, some changes, and try to explain in a very easy way for everyone to understand, not too much jargon, and it's I think it's the way to go.
Okay. So less jargon, explain kind of the mission, and try to partner up with one or two people across departments that can help
Yeah,
that can help, help together create a better product for everybody, right? So
yeah.
with UX and SEO combined, you get to help create an experience that one can drive traffic and two convert and lead to good experience for the user and then
Exactly.
purchasing the product. That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Um, Interesting. So let's see. I think you've got a lot of good kind of tidbits and tactics and things that you've done in the past. You know, is there something that everyone in our industry is trying to do that you think you've discovered a better way to do?
Wow, that would be a bit pretentious, probably. I can talk only by myself, and I, what I'm very proud is um, to to have reached a point, or for example, when I'm doing internal SEO audits,
Yeah.
is that I try to do the audits in a way that everyone can understand. And to my surprise, this was the very first time that when I delivered the audits, internal audits for all the brands, um, it came to a surprise to me that some directors congratulate me because they could understand what we were talking about in the audit. So it means that's not too much technical, so they could understand. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very easy to get lost with SEO because there's a lot of jargon,
There is. Yeah.
and for me that was I'm proud of this achievement. So out there they could understand what I was talking about. And the other one is uh, have have introduced the data, very data driven, in the sense that I use a lot of data to to guide the strategy and to do all my work. And I use a lot uh, Data Studio. I
Mhm.
discovered Data Studio some years ago, and I was just amazed with everything you can do with it. And yeah, so I try to gather the data, put the reports in an easy visual way to understand, and yeah, try to help the marketing team with that data.
Yeah.
Um, that's pretty much what I could do in that aspect. Oh, and I use Screaming Frog with Data
Sure.
Studio to better understand internal linking.
Yep.
And I've created a dashboard. Probably someday I'm gonna share that with the community. The dashboard with from the crawl, and then you can find how many internal links the page has
Hmm.
from the header, or from the footer, or from the actual blog content. And I think it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. I
So
mean, sounds like you created your own SEO tool there, but
yeah,
for someone who says leave the jargon at home when you're presenting to other people because that's the way to bridge the gap. But then you've got a really insightful technical side of yourself of how to actually figure out all the internal links from Screaming Frog. We use I use Screaming Frog from time to time to check to see how our crawler is doing, right? So if a client says, "Hey Clay, I don't know why you're showing that you're getting, I don't know, 400s or some or 414s or 410s or some of these weird error codes, and I'll say, okay, let me try Screaming Frog, because that's not our server. That's my my own internet connection. That's completely different than our AWS server, and it's a completely different product. So let's see how that does, and I'll get the same thing. And so I know that they have a problem. So it's a super good check. It's a super helpful crawler. So big fans
absolutely
of that.
One of the best tools in your box. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely like that tool. So what do you think everyone in our space should stop doing?
Stop doing. Just the most important is trying to game Google, game the system. I don't feel like, for example, PBNs is a good thing. Buying links, you can buy links, obviously, good backlinks, which can cost you quite a bit of money, but not these a bit shady links, $100, 3 links, and I don't know. I don't think this is good. The main thing they should think about is how I can better serve my users. That's the best thing you can think of. And then obviously create good content, and it can give you good backlinks. And with my wife, I have a website, an affiliate site, some affiliate sites, and we do some testing there as well. And if you really focus on the user and user experience and answering, the query as quickly as possible, it can give you a good reward as well. And you don't need as many links, as many backlinks. But stop doing avoiding internal backlinks, for example, and all these kind of things. Don't focus. Technical SEO, it's a thing as well. And there's a lot of people that focus very much on technical SEO.
Yeah.
As long as you have the basics right, don't obsess about that. If the website loads in 3.5 seconds, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not 2 seconds, but 3.5 is why it's okay. And if the user experience overall is good, that's not a problem. So focus on the user. It's that easy and that complex, because
the funny thing is, when it comes to technical SEO, I feel like there's so much room for expanding that 3.5 seconds, right? I have a client where we take screenshots of live sites, and so for one client of mine, I have to do a 60-second delay because some of their pages are so heavy, and I want to make sure I get the whole thing. And I could do 5 seconds, I could do 10 seconds, I could do 30 seconds, but when I was doing 10 seconds, I was getting stuff cut off. And so I'm like, if it's not loading in 10 seconds, it's like, I feel like it's not a good experience. It's a really bad experience for a lot of users.
Definitely.
But sometimes some of these there's a lot of technical challenges in maybe some enterprise or old infrastructure that's hard to overcome. So it's almost like the SEOs want it to load in 2 seconds, but it's like the technical challenges to get there with the current infrastructure is so overwhelmingly challenging that sometimes they can't.
Okay, one of the things they should stop doing is let the JavaScript rendering for the client. That's a no. Just compile your JavaScript, render in HTML, and be wiser. You can't expect a website to load in 8 seconds or 10 seconds on your mobile. Simply, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
We are trying to move all our websites to Sanity. Sanity, the Sanity platform?
No.
It's a headless CMS based on the back and is JavaScript and React. But then when you compile the site, there's like an interpreter called Gatsby, and the website it renders is pure HTML.
It's like a pre-rendering system, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And you're very good, and everything is in the cloud. It's everything cloud based, so you have your assets like in many clouds or many servers. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's quite nice, a nice system.
Yeah.
Nice
I
platform.
mean, I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. And I feel like a lot of people are using some of these, pre-rendering systems and things like that. So definitely it's definitely, we can get into the weeds on stuff like that. But let's step back into, well, now we said what people should stop doing. What should they start doing? What do you think people need to do more of?
Well, with the latest Google update, just focus on the user. As I said earlier, as said earlier, just sell the benefits and not the product.
Yeah.
And do your user research, what they actually looking for. But if you have the possibility, ask your clients directly. I mean, it's okay to do keyword research and
Yeah.
Okay, and don't use only a software like SEMrush, or I don't know if SEO Radar has keyword research. Sorry about that, but don't rely only on just one source. Look at the SERPs. The
Yeah.
SERPs offers a lot of information. And people, the suggestions or down in the bottom at the bottom of the page of Google,
Yeah.
and just look at the steps of what Google is offering that they think the user wants. But if you have the possibility, I know that not everyone has this possibility, but ask your clients directly.
I love that, because I feel like sometimes when I talk to clients, they tell me things in like addiction, like the words that they choose end up being a little different than the way that I would necessarily describe it. And that can really help with content creation and thinking about the benefits, like you said, like how am I positioning my product when they're searching, what terms would they use? Maybe the keyword research comes up with one term, but I'm also hearing people use this other kind of term that's similar. So, hey, you can use that in the body of the copy too, to try to like make it understood, like more familiar for certain types of users. The challenge is you're never going to be able to get the right words of every single person, but just by listening to that, it can broaden. I feel like it broadens my mind of understanding. Well, they're saying this, so maybe it's just a little tinge different than what I was thinking it was, which is helpful for me.
Yeah, it's super helpful, and sometimes it's a keyword, or sorry, a word that you haven't think of, and you can incorporate it in the copy as you said, and that ties with the zero volumes keywords. That it's quite a thing right now, and everybody knows that you can use some keywords that a priori they say, oh, this is a zero volume, and it can bring very good and valuable traffic as well. So yeah, definitely.
Can you kind of explain that for people that hadn't really heard so much about zero volume keywords?
Yeah, I mean, it's all these keywords that Google probably, or Google Ads, or any software that to do the keyword search. This is zero search volume. Then you go, for example, to Search Console, and you have like 300 impressions in a month for that exact keyword, and you go, oh, so they are telling me there's no volume, and I have appear 300 times in the Google list. So then you can use that. I do this in my reports with Data Studio. Yep. So these are the the opportunities. And you have a big column of keywords with a lot of impressions. I mean, sometimes thousands impressions, and no clicks or very
Sure.
low number of clicks. And then if you go to your keyword research software, it tells you that there's no volume.
Yeah.
So use, for
Yeah.
example, Search Console to
No
your
volume.
advantage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the impressions, and probably you have a gold mine there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, is that essentially that the people that are ranking for that term don't really match what that user is really looking for, that they come up with a zero volume score? Or is it just that there's just a data mismatch where they're like, yeah, this is not enough to even report on?
Um, to be honest, I don't know. Probably it's something that the software hasn't had the time to catch the trend yet.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be. I don't know how the software works. Probably Google Ads is not so accurate in that aspect.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, but what I can tell you for sure is if you get this data from Search Console, you have a gold mine there. Yeah, definitely.
That's great.
It's very you know a good intent, a very good intent, very you know spot on, I think.
Sure. For sure. Yeah. I mean, we're big fans of Google Search Console here. So so that definitely a big fan of that. Yeah. So, I think now we got a little bit of time to just, shine the spotlight on you, any projects you're working on that you'd like to talk about and tell people about, or anywhere where people could get in touch with you. I think it's been a lot of great time. So I feel like people are going to have questions and want to reach out to you.
Oh yeah, they can reach me on LinkedIn. Basically, I have my website under construction for a while, but
Yeah.
they can reach me on LinkedIn. Um, I don't know my address, but if they look for my name, Josep
Yes.
Maria Felip, they're gonna find me there. Or um, yeah, it's. I don't use Twitter very much. I have an account on Twitter, JM Felip, and yeah, it's basically this channel. Um, so I can't remember the first question.
Yeah. So are there any projects that you're working on that
Oh
you'd
yeah.
like people to know about?
Um, well, we are basically working on some other projects, internal projects on LTG, and
Mhm.
that because they have recently acquired GP strategies, and we're doing some exciting things for all the brands. Some brands specifically, but it's all about migrations, as I said before. Some of the sites are still in WordPress, and we are moving to Sanity CMS
Yeah.
with a bespoke CMS, which I had the opportunity to um, collaborate and say, say something in the construction of this, in the building of this CMS. So I have some SEO bits there, and I like migration. So as you told earlier,
Like migrations. I don't know
well,
any other SEO that likes migrations.
yeah, because I mean, you have to have a lot of things in into the account, and yeah, it's I mean, we work a lot with spreadsheets, massive spreadsheets, and VLOOKUPs and everything,
Yeah.
and then tinkering with Google Search Console, and
Well, there's definitely a lot of opportunity with a site migration. I think that's the positive. The risk is the challenge of risking traffic, but I think that's where people get scared. But I feel like
yeah,
there's a lot of opportunity to make the experience better, to make it faster, to improve on the things that are more challenging to improve upon technically that you
yes,
the site migrations allow you to get to.
Yeah, for example,
Structurally.
going away from WordPress to another more
Yeah.
secure platform, more speed with Sanity is quite it acts like a single page application. It's quite quick, very fast, and there's an opportunity to prune some content as well, to recycle some of the content, and at the end of the day to make a better user experience. So
yeah,
we are working right now on that.
Awesome.
And
Well, it sounds like a really great project.
yeah,
And
definitely.
I really enjoyed talking to you because I feel like you've got such a wealth of experience and such a focus on users that's beyond most SEOs are doing today. So, Josep Maria, like, thanks so much for joining us on SEO Unveiled. I really appreciate the time. It's been a wonderful time for you sharing your story, and I just want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been really great. I think I talk a bit too much, maybe, but
It's cool. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
It's great. I like it very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me,
Thank
and
you
thank you
so
for
much.
your time.